what is stressing you out.
Are
And
you guys going this week? So next week. So you're off this week. Next week, you guys are back on. Middle school guys, you're on. All right, middle school guys are back. And then middle school girls, are you back this week too? All right, middle school girls, you have your event back this week. So those are Monday nights. The other crew is on Wednesday nights. We got a game. All right, let's do a game.
yearbook quotes, real or fake?
Do you guys get yearbooks anymore? Is that a thing?
Yes.
Do you guys care about that at all?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
My side will be real. Owen's side will be fake.
Fake.
Stand up if you want to play.
If you guys want to play, you guys soundboard, I'll run this if you want to play for a week. If you want to get crazy and play. All right, so it's almost time to graduate, or it is graduation for some of you. Were these real quotes that I found in yearbooks? Were these real quotes, senior quotes in yearbooks?
High school was easy. It was like riding a bike, except the bike was on fire and the ground was on fire and everything was on fire.
Is that real or is that
Or
fake?
fake.
High school was easy. It was like riding a bike, except the bike was on fire, the ground was on fire, and everything was on fire.
Real, but it's not the same wording.
As long as it's close as ever. All right, you guys saying fake or you're just not standing up? I see what we're doing.
3, 2, 1.
It was real.
Real.
I did
Real.
find that in a yearbook.
I'm so sorry that everyone is so jealous of me, but I can't help it that I'm so popular.
Was that a real quote in a yearbook?
I s-
That'd be something you would write, Owen, wouldn't it?
oh yeah.
So real, fake. You feel like that's something but you're going to the real side though. It's fake. I'm just kidding.
3, 2, 1.
No, it's
Real.
real.
It was
I found that
real.
one. It was actually a band nerd that wrote that.
Really?
It was a band nerd that wrote that.
See, I was thinking it's gonna be a nerd that wrote it.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna be like popular.
Yeah. Everybody loved him.
I want to thank Google, Wikipedia, and to whoever invented copy and paste.
Real or fake?
Three,
You guys are just going to stay here the whole time? All right. 2.
2, 1.
It is real.
It was real.
It is real.
Shoot for the moon. If you miss, you will die in space, which is cool.
Oh, we got some movement. We got some movement. We got some movement. All right, you staying?
3, 2, 1.
It is real.
Should have
It
stayed
is real.
Should have stayed there.
Remember that really great math class? Yeah, me either. Nobody's going fake.
Nobody's going for fake.
He's going.
Oh, now we got a couple movers. We got a couple of movers.
3, 2, 1.
That one
It
was
was
fake. I couldn't
fake.
find that one.
Here you go, Colin.
Couldn't find that one.
3 left.
3 left. I see 3.
I'm so glad most of us made it. I'm a little slow there. There you go. I was
Who
waiting-
didn't make it?
Huh?
Who didn't make it?
Those kids from like career tech. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. Career tech people. Settle down.
3, 2, 1.
That's fake.
Fake.
We got a winner. I think I got candy in the background. So here's the rest of them.
Thanks to all my teachers, I learned to write good.
There you go. That was real.
That was real.
I look better than the person in the picture next to me.
That is real. That is real.
Character limit for our senior quote. That seems unfair. We refuse to be constrained by these rules.
That was real.
I don't know. You can just put some quote in for me.
That's 100% real.
That's totally a real one. All right, that was yearbook quotes, real or fake. Then we had that kid that always signed like the edge, and he's like, ha ha, ha, I signed your crack.
Actually, someone did that too.
Oh, yeah, that used to be the thing back in the 80s. I signed your crack. All right, that is it. I guess I'm up. Hold on, I think I got candy in the background for whoever won. Who won? Somebody? You? Back. Hey, I saw you drumming the other day. Good job in the Memorial Day parade. There you go. Watch your heads. Nice catch. Yes, clap for him. He caught that. You guys will do anything. All right, whistle for him. No, you guys do it? All right, you did clap, though. All right, I was also told one thing. Yes, I know my voice sucks. Just get over it. I was told one thing. Today is Aislinn and Chloe's birthday today. Is that true? Sweet 16. You're 16? You are. Joel's was yesterday. How old are you, Joel? 15, 16. Chloe, how old are you? 16? How old are you? 13. All the 13-year-old boys. She's single and available. So I'm just saying, just trying to help some godly relationships happen here. So, all right. We will sing happy birthday off key because that's how we do it, because I can't sing on key, therefore you're not allowed to. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. I can't even go that high. Happy birthday, dear Joel and Chloe. Happy birthday to you. All right. Congratulations on your birthdays. All right. So, last week, I'll do my deep voice because that's the only voice I can actually sound normal. So, if it sounds like I'm reading a book to you all day, that's the only voice that's consistently not squeaking. So, I'll go deep voice today. This should be entertaining. All right, Exodus. We read this book of Exodus. We started last week. We started talking about Moses. Your small group leaders say we need to talk about the characters of the Bible and why they're important. So last week we said, why do we care about these people? Why do we care about the people of the Bible? Well, it's important because they modeled the same mistakes we make. If we can learn from them, we'll help ourselves avoid a lot of the conflicts that are about to happen in your life. And I say about happen because it will happen. You guys, sorry, this thing keeps hitting me in the mouth and it's weird. All right, you guys, now give me a little more Valium because I pulled it away from my mouth. Thank you. Perfect. So you guys will go through these things. The Bible is one of those books that's like, hey, listen, you will go through these things. Why don't you read me? God's like, why don't you read it and solve this problem? And so God is not, the phrase I want you to understand is God is not at war with you, but he is at war with your idols, and you keep getting in the way. A lot of people blame God for a lot of things, and there's a good chunk of the stupidity that we do in this world because we choose to get in God's way. God is a very jealous God. The Bible is very clear. God is a jealous God. He's mad at the things that we let. In fact, let's really think about it. Who wrote I'll ask you the question. Who wrote the first 5 books of the Bible? Anybody know? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Who wrote it? Don't Google it. No, you're Googling it back there. Who wrote it? Not Joseph. Moses. Moses read the first 5 books of the Bible. So when we look at Noah, you guys know the story of Noah? I know a guy like Arky, all that, the good songs. Before Noah, God let us figure it out. And how did it? So there was no Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. They wasn't written yet. So God created mankind. We learned the story of Adam and Eve, and how did that end? They got kicked out of the garden. It wasn't that good. And then what happened to society over a couple of hundred years? They all became idiots because they were in charge of themselves. They made themselves God and their desires God. And so God did what? This is an easy one. What did he do? Flood the earth. Thank you. All right, so you guys know the end of that story. So he flooded the earth. He destroyed it. He's like, I'm sad that I made him. So he started again with Noah. We have this story where all of a sudden it goes to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Jacob has kids. He's going to make them Israel. He's going to make a people. So he's like, okay, I'm going to make a people. But this time I'm going to give them rules. I'm going to give them definitive. So we got Noah. And then God sends Moses. And God gets to the rules. How does it end with Moses? Anybody know what the people did when Moses left camp? When Moses went up to get the 10 Commandments, what happened? Literally, they built a golden calf and they started worshiping it. In Egypt, they got caught up in that. They were so mad after they left Egypt that God was going to go, they're like, hey, we don't have any food. Can you tell God to give us food? Remember, there's no Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. There's no rules. And so they kept going, we want food. They're literally teenagers. That's all they can think about. And so God's like, all right, I'll give you food, but you're not going to like it because it's the same bread over and over again. So they got food and water. And they're like, we want protection. We want to become our own kings. And so there was a lot of wants. And so eventually God says, hey, listen, you guys got an idol problem. And it's an idol. Anybody know what define an idol is? What is an idol? A fake God, or anything that takes away from our focus of the one true God. And we got a lot of things that can become our gods. YouTube, TikTok, boyfriends, girlfriends, video games. We got a lot of things that we substitute in for God. And so we have an idol issue. Anything that captures the focus of your heart. And that's not, don't get me wrong, having a boyfriend, girlfriend, watching some YouTube, depending on what you're watching, watching the TikToks, laughing at videos, those aren't bad things. But when it captures your heart, when it's the thing that you wake up with, and maybe it is your cell phone, when it's the thing you wake up and that's all you can focus on, it has become your God. And God says, let me ask you another question. Where are my 10 commandment peoples? What are the first 3 commandments? We'll talk about this in a second. What are the first 3 commandments? You guys know? You're going to know all the answers. We're going to have to give you a gold star, buddy. Let me go over here because you've answered a couple. I am the Lord your God. What's the second one? Do not take my name or carry my name in vain. And honor the Sabbath day, keep it so. The first 3 are focused on God. He had to remind him, hey, listen, the first 3 things I need you to understand is I'm in charge. I'm a jealous God, and I don't like your idols. I want to be the focus. And some people in society go, man, he sounds like a narcissist God. God's like, but I'm the one that provides. I'm the one that gives. I'm the one that created. I'm the one that loves. I am the one that can do all of these things. If you don't believe me that God's at war with your idols, and we get in the way. A lot of times we get mad at God because you're like, but I really wanted that thing. God's like, but I want to be the one that gives it to you, not your own understanding, your own knowledge, your own heart. God wants to, I got a chance to do this for the adults a couple of months back when I got to preach. But if you don't believe me, let's go to Moses' story right there in chapter 3. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, let the people go. You guys remember that song? Pharaoh, Pharaoh. Did you guys do that in VBS? You guys don't do that anymore? Well, I'll play it for the countdown next week. It'll be amazing. Pharaoh, Pharaoh, Husta. No? Come on. What are they teaching you kids, man? I'm going to have a talk with Miss Amanda. If you don't believe me, sorry, let me go into my deep voice. Sorry. If you don't believe me that God was after their idols, Noah, their idol was themselves, their wants, their sexual desires. They became selfish people, and God's like, I'm just going to wipe them all out because their hearts are hardened. So now he gives them rules and laws. And remember, it is not Israel's fault. There's no rules for Israel. Let me go back to last week for just a second. Remember, Joseph, Technicolor Dreamcoat, all that thing. Joseph, their family moves to Egypt because their brother saved Egypt. So everybody moves down. They become part of Egypt. And they didn't have any laws. They just knew God was God. They knew that everything was in relation with God. But Egypt's like, what was the thing that God did that made the Egyptians upset? Anybody remember? What did God bless them with that made the Egyptians upset? Why did they go into slavery? Because Pharaoh was jealous that they were having lots of babies. He was jealous they were good at when a mommy and a daddy love each other very much. They were really good at it, and they had a lot of babies. And Pharaoh's like, they're going to overtake them. We need to make them slaves. Rules and regulation. Pharaoh was jealous. Sometimes the problems in our life happen because other people are jealous or evil or wrong. That's part of the problems with our lives. Sometimes other people cause our hurt and our pain and our frustration. But God said, I'll redeem it. So he redeems Moses. Moses goes through. He does his own selfish thing. There's no rules and regulations. Moses didn't even know the customs of the Israelites because he lived with Egyptians. So he runs away. He marries this girl. He learns a little bit about this. And then God shows up and says, I need you to go back to Pharaoh and release my people, and I'm going to put you in charge of them. And I'm going to teach you the rules. I'm going to teach you the regulations. We're going to set up a covenant together, which means a promise or a contract, or what we would say our constitution, in America. We're going to set this up, and we're going to make a nation. And Moses was in charge of doing this. And so he says, no. God's like, yes. And so Moses kept coming up with excuses. And he's like, that's your God, though you can't speak. I'm going to provide something, Aaron, to help you speak. And so his idols, the things that he was worried about, his anxieties, God's like, you're going to do it. And that's where we ended last week. And if you don't believe me that God's in charge and wants to be the king of your idols, this is one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen in the Bible. So you guys know the 10 plagues, right? The next thing the plagues happen. You guys know what they are? Anybody? No? All right, let's go through them. Because here are the gods of Egypt, and here's what God did in the face of them. He says, Pharaoh, let my people go. Pharaoh says, okay, that's an easy one. No. Yes, there you go. No. So the first god that God takes on, that our God takes on, Israel's God takes on, first god, Hapti, was the Egyptian god. He was the god of the river. And the first plague, God said, I'm going to send blood to the rivers, and they're going to kill all the fish. I'm in charge of that, God. Please let my people go. Next, Het, the frog of it was a frog-faced god. It was based on fertility. So God sends the second plague. Frogs everywhere. If you like frogs, that's a good day. If you don't like frogs, that's a real bad day. Everywhere there's frogs. And so God says, I don't like that God. I am the God of the universe. Please let my people go. He was going to let them off. He's like, hey, listen, you do your own thing. My people are going to do my thing. No. Geb, the earth god. All of the dust of the earth became gnats. I don't know if you've ever walked into a swarm of gnats. It's the worst. Now imagine all the dust of the earth becoming gnats. That's a real bad day. That's not just a little bad day. That's like in your nose, frustrate. Like, have you ever been hit in the eye with a bug? Or caught one down the throat? That's a real bad day. And so God's like, I'm in charge of that, God. Please let my people go. No, let's keep going. Kepri, the creation or the renewal God. And so what he does, I don't know, do you guys know how fast flies reproduce? Every 2 days. Every 2 days, they remake their babies. And so, swarms of flies that only pestered and that says Israel. That's supposed to be Egypt. They did not pester Israel. They pestered Egypt. So could you imagine you're an Israelite going, that stinks for you. You got flies on your face. I don't know if you've been in like a cow farm or something like that where there are flies everywhere and you're just like that. Now imagine being everywhere. And so, creation renewal God, please let my people go. No. Hathor, how often do we have gods that we try to fight God on? And he's like, listen, I want to take this trouble, this hurt, this anger, this frustration that's being caused by this thing in your life. I want to take that out, but yet we keep fighting going, but I love it, I want it, this is so good. The Pharaoh's doing the same thing. Hathor, the cow goddess of protection, what does he do? All of the Egyptians' livestock dies. The Israelites stays healthy and fine. Let my people go. No. Isis, god of medicine and peace. I don't know if you've ever had a fever blister. Boils are basically that all over your skin, except for they hurt. And when they break, it is like, you ever get a rug burn? Supposedly it's like getting a rug burn and then rubbing salt in it. Boils were miserable. And so he's like, you got this god of medicine, Isis. Now you got boils. Pray to that and find out that that's not going away. I want my people, please stop worshiping these gods. I want you and I want my people. And Pharaoh says no. And so the next one is Nut, god of the sky. And so what does God send? Hail. He goes, stop that. You ever been in a hailstorm? You ever get hit by those? Now, the Bible's translation, they're talking about big hail. They're not talking like the little pellets that you're like, ooh, ow, airsoft. We're talking like hail. Yeah, oh yeah, could you imagine getting slugged by one of those? Welts and bruises. So he's like, all right, let my people go. When does Pharaoh eventually, well, we'll do two, there's only three more. Seth, storm and disaster. So locust came. Anybody seen sandstorms, like movies afterwards, like or after sandstorms, where everything is absolutely covered? Like you gotta like go sweep off your car. It's like a blizzard, except for with sand. So then he sends locusts, which are grasshoppers, basically. Has anybody ever had a grasshopper land on you and you freak out? Like it hits you and you're like, sorry, I couldn't yell. That was my best yell. I can't hit those high rangers. Locusts like a sandstorm that covered every last inch of the land. And yet still Pharaoh goes, nah, I'm going to keep them. All right, next idol, Ra, which is the sun god. And so what did he do? He blotted out the sun. He's like, that is your most prominent god in the sky. They're sky gods, if you will. That is your most prominent one, and I'm going to darken it out. Now, please let my people go. And finally, Pharaoh says, no. He thought about it, and then he pulled back, and he's like, I'm not going to do it. And so finally God says, there's one more God that I'm going to challenge, and you're going to let my people go. Because that God is you, Pharaoh. Pharaoh was considered the god of Egypt. He actually proclaimed himself as the God of Egypt. And so what did God challenge him on and do? He killed all the firstborn. And if you understand the importance of firstborn, the next generation was always passed down in the Old Testament to the firstborn male. And so Pharaoh and his son would have been considered gods. The next generation was his son. And God says, I'll take care of all of that. You're all going to die. And you will have no control of it. You are supposed to be the God that protects Egypt. And I am the God that protects Israel. And I promise you I'm going to win. And in our lives, God is going to win with our idols. And we just need to figure out how to get out of our own way. So I said the first three commandments. I am the only God. You can't have idols. He does not want you to put anything in front of him. And you can't carry his name in vain, which means if you're carrying the Bible, it doesn't mean some people you might get in school and hear some language. I'm sure there's language in most of your schools where people are like, GD, God darn it. And you're like, wait, is Dwight going to hell? No, that phrase is to carry my name in vain, which means take my name and lead somebody away from God. If I were to be a false prophet, a false teacher, a false somebody, if I were to be somebody that says, God's not real, so all those TikTok, YouTubes, whatever you're watching where they're like, God's stupid, God's not real, this is how you know, those people are they're going into the Christian realm, taking God's name and trying to say he's not real. Those people, that is what the Bible says is the unforgivable sin. You can't take my name, carry my name, and pull my people away from me. That is something God does not want you to do. Please be careful when you use your words, because God wants to be your only God. So for our small reflection time today, are there idols you keep holding on to while God is trying to weed them out? God is at war with your idols. He does not want you to have them. He does not want them to be priority in your life. He wants to be your only God. And some of the conflict that happens in the teenage world, and yes, even in the adult world if you don't figure it out, is you understanding that there are things in this world that we are putting in front of God. And for those of us that call ourselves Christians, now remember, God fought with the idols of Egypt, but he was just going to leave them alone. I'm going to let you up to your own broken and hard hearts. Just let my people go. For those of the people that don't call themselves Christians, God's not going to war over their idols. He's going to send prophets, and he's going to send you into your friends and saying, here's who Jesus is. That's how he reaches the lost sheep. But for those of us that call ourselves Christians, God's going to weed out those idols, and sometimes that's going to cause heartache. Yes? Can you think of a time in which you've had an idol? You've had something in your mind that you're so focused on outside of your relationship with God, and God goes, listen, I need that. I need you to give me that. I need you to stop putting that. It's okay to collect. For me, it's like baseball cards. Boy, I can get addicted to baseball cards real quick. Some of you guys collect baseball cards. It's pretty addicting pretty quick. Ooh, eBay bidding, YouTube videos. This famous person that's leading you away from who God is. God says, I want that. I want your heart, and sometimes we have to give it up altogether to get control of our heart. Paul talks about the fact that we need to make our bodies slaves to us, which takes discipline. It takes mentorship. People in your lives that say, hey, listen, you're doing this, and it is not according to what God designed you to be. And that's what baptism's for, so that we enter into these small group relationships where we start weeding out these gods in our lives, not taking away the good things. The good things are fun, but certain things, job, career, greed, social status, like I said, YouTube, those things can become a god. And if they become a god, God for us Christians will go to war against them, and it will not be pretty, because we will lose that battle every time or gain massive heartaches. So, for those of you guys, as we get into small groups here in a couple of minutes, I encourage you to start identifying those things in which become God in our lives, whether it's dance or like all the things that we've listed today. School, prestige, honor, those things will always carry through. For those of you guys getting a job here pretty soon, maybe it's the car that you're coveting that you want to drive. All of those things come with responsibility, and they are really great gifts from God. But for those of us that choose to make them gods, God will remove them. And here's the crazy part. Some of you guys have already been through this, and I know your story, where you had the God, oh, I love baseball. It's my favorite thing in the world. I love playing it. I can't live without it. And then all of a sudden you get hurt and you can't do it. And God's like, hey, listen, you put that in a place of me. I have plans for you. I have desires for you. Or I say it most every week. God made you perfect, wonderful, beautiful, with a purpose, passion, and a desire. God created you the way and he's like, hey, I got something good for you, but you're putting this in the place of me. And so I can't give you the blessings that I want to get you in the area that you want, because you've put this, I just threw baseball in there. You've made baseball your God. Please get your gods under control. And what I mean by that is the God, and the rest of them are just blessings and fun things and exciting things and part of growing up. Because if not, you will start to see that how is it working out? I guarantee you that it's probably not working out pretty good when you go to battle with the God of the universe, as he regains control of your relationship. God should be the sole God. All right, let's pray and get you in a small group. And then I need to drink some tea because my throat is about gone. Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for chasing after us. I thank you so much for loving us. But we do have idol problems, whether it's a person or a technology, whether it's greed, money. We have a lot of things that we want. And God, we hear that you want to give them to us. But it's in your time and your blessings, not our time and our wants. And so help us to be a people that chases after your hearts. As the Israelites begged for food and water and stuff, you gave it to them, but unfortunately you gave it to them, and with angry hearts they chased even after more. And so God, let us be a people that seeks after your will, your ways, your blessings, and in that you'll teach us how to be people of God abundantly blessed because you are truly a good God. Help us to set aside those